takes a couple minutes.
Man, that's a fancy deal.
Yeah, and that's one of the small, inexpensive ones.
Huh.
The Tanacon Bull series are those big blue ones, or Shimano also makes the Beastmasters, and those are the things that will winch up a swordfish or a bluefin tuna.
Wow.
You could probably get a 100-pound halibut into the boat with one of these. It would take a while, but the motor probably would do it, as long as you have enough battery. And this battery pack is supposed to be good for all day.
Are you? How does that work? Like if you catch a big shark down there?
Oh, I told you about that sleeper shark a couple years ago.
That's what
I thought I snagged a shrimp pot. That, like, you know, because it was just dead weight for a while, and it was just slowly winching it up. And then it started swimming away, and then after the top 800 feet, I had to just crank it.
800 feet of sleeper sharks.
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like it was fighting. It was just swimming.
So right now you're a fifth the way at the bottom.
No, this is in meters. So we're about 2/3 of the way down. I've seen what the. Yeah, we're drifting in towards that cliff faster than I like.
Do you want me to touch it first?
No, I want to see how deep it shows when we hedge. I may scoot us back out. We'll go through Normally, the depth I'll get is like 370 to 430 meters. Then a lot of this bow will go away when I tighten the line up.
Oh.
Yeah, that Once Upon a Time story about the dory fleet in Newport Beach, just, you know, it piqued my interest way back then, and I just kind of filed it away as, yeah, I'm never going to be fishing like that. You know, it's 370 meters. Tighten the line up. And see, I don't know if you can see the slack in the line, but I keep it right on the bottom. Pop it up out of the mud. And you saw how short that leader was?
Yeah.
And yeah, when we're done fishing, we can do some video of the tackle and rigging. But originally, I was trying like my grouper deep drop rigs, where you got stagings that are 3-4 feet apart. So I had a leader 8 or 10 feet long with hooks 3 or 4 feet and 6 or 8 feet above the bottom. The top hook never got touched. And the bottom hook, it was just kind of an accidental discovery. I'd let the line go slack, and then I started getting fish on the bottom hook. So the next year I cut the leader down a lot shorter and discovered, oh, hey, what do you know?
They just hang out right on the bottom.
Yeah. And you see how that swivel tip points onto the line so you don't have any shaking on your braid?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's probably important when it's that much line going out.
Yeah. Almost at the point where I'm going to pull this up and back us over and drift over that football field again. I don't want to get into the rocks and lose a $17 sinker.
You could make a mold and pour you some more.
Yeah.
That particular sinker, you like the shape of that? As a ball, same thing?
Yeah, these kind of depths of ball, like, if I'm fishing rocky areas down the Gulf of Mexico, I was telling you I like using a piece of rebar because the end of it will drag along the bottom and give you some forgiveness room so you don't snag it. And even if you do let it lay flat on the bottom, snag and lose, it's just a piece of rebar. Okay, I'm going to bring this up and have us do another.
I use that for any kind of fishing.
Yeah. I mean, my mom was using one of these for halibut fishing up at Whalers Cove. It was the bigger Boltanacom 1000, you know, about yay wide. But she loved it. She just had to hit the switch, keep a hand on the rod, and
So was that the lodges or yours?
those were the lodges. I had requested it from.
What's
There is something small on there.
Yeah, I see it. She's doing a little jerking down there.
Maybe you'll break another record. What was that? A spiny nose rockfish or something?
It's called a short spine, thorny head rockfish. And unfortunately, on an electric reel, it wouldn't qualify as a world record.
Oh, bummer.
That's part of why I was so happy I was using the Shimano that day, because you crank it up by hand without assistance, and it's a world record. You use power assist or any of that? Nope.
You said
Kind of like when halibut fishing, when you harpoon a halibut, it's disqualified.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't come close to sending any records either, so.
Yeah, if you harpoon or shoot it, it doesn't qualify for records.
You just gaff it, just drag it in the boat, and that's it, huh?
Yeah.
That
You
makes
can put
sense.
2 or 3 or 4 gaffs into it. But I guess the idea is that the harpoon is a secondary fighting device, because
Sure.
it dives back down and it's fighting that buoy now
Yeah.
instead of.
Yeah, I can dig that.
Huh. Maybe there is something on there.
It's looking like you got a little action down there.
My uncle told me this story about a guy, I may have told you over the phone, but they're out at a lodge. He's one of the guides, and the client's got a halibut. And they got it up to the surface, gaffed it, and yarded this big old halibut in the boat. And then the guy pulled out his gun and shot it 6 times. Right through the boat.
Ooh! Oh, that had the smart.
Yeah. That was the end of their fishing for the day.
Why are you changing the speeds? Because of the fight?
Yeah, if it's under load and you have it on high gear, you can burn the reel out.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, that extra pound of sinker shouldn't be making that much difference.
So when you hold the rod, are you feeling the fish on there? Or?
I felt a little wiggle, jiggle, but I couldn't tell if that was just, yeah, like that. Now, one thing I've noticed on sablefish on the places I do find them is that they tend to be localized in a small area of that terrain I was describing.
Oh, they're kind of schooling fish?
I think so. I'm not sure if it's schooling or they just congregate in places that are just right. I know the small ones are schooling fish. You know, those little ones yesterday over at the bay, they were just, the bottom was covered 200 to 220 feet. You could see the green mass on the fish finder, and we were hooking them on everything. Jigs, bait, they were hitting bare hooks.
Now with the,
Hungry little fellas.
Sorry?
Hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty much apex predators down there. I've seen video of one eating a big rat tail. I mean, almost as big as it was. They squid anything they can get in their mouth.
I know
Jump right there.
the commercial fishermen, unless I'm mistaken, I think they do long lining for them.
Right.
Not trawling or anything.
Right. There's also the pot fishery. It's like a big crab pot. Southern California, they do that, and there's more and more of those being done in Alaska.
Yeah, part of that is because when they bring up their long line, the whales are getting a hold of it and stripping it on the way out.
Yeah, the sperm whales up here are learning when they hear that winch going, that's the dinner bell, they come a-running.
We're done.
And they'll be down there stripping off most of the sablefish, so the guys end up pulling up a few rockfish, a few grenadiers, and maybe a few sablefish if they're lucky.
Yeah, they had pictures of whales with their, I'll say their lip in their mouth, grooves cut this deep from the line going through there, you know, and it tears the hook out of the fish.
Sure.
Through the whale lip and.
Yeah, oh yeah, these gigantic circles are just bent wide open.
Oh yeah, you got one of those sitting on your dash there.
It could just be a combination of the weight and the speed we're moving. There's a real double lift.
Okay, so now it's 100 meters down, right? 300 feet?
That's more what you're used to fishing for halibut.
Right. Now we're just getting started. The sablefish, I mean, part of the problem is that they're so oily and stuff. Are they like that immediately, or do you find they get better the older they are?
The bigger ones are better. Those juveniles I catch in shallow water are oily, but nothing like that heavy, silky texture that the adults have.
So it's kind of the opposite of halibut, where the quality goes down with the halibut as they get older.
Right. Oh, part of it was I just didn't drag tight. Yeah.
Oh, it gives you a warning when it gets to the top?
Sorry?
It gives you a warning when it gets to the top? Is that a little bell?
Yeah, 5 meters it'll stop cranking. And just in case, I put those beads there so I don't tear up the knot and bust off $20 worth of tackle.
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna scoot us out and try a little different positioning and see if we
Oh,
can-
where that boat is maybe or something like
Yeah.
that?
That'll move.
I guess 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, when I was researching these, I ran across a reference in a couple of academic papers talking about sampling pots up in Bean Canal for black cod tagging. And those were done back in the 70s. So that's what got me thinking, you know, maybe there's some down here. And it turns out there's a population in Bean Canal, Clarence Strait. It's just, you gotta have the right conditions and gear to fish for.
Right. Conditions, gear, and then finding the muddy bottom, I guess.
Yeah, muddy bottom at the edge of a trench. That's the basics. Let's see if that does us any better this time. Feels like the wind is starting to calm down a bit, so.
I don't see any white out there anymore.
Yeah.
Big old weight.
Oh my goodness.
What?
4 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
You're just not used to that.
No.
Like I said, rockfish fishing as a kid in Southern California, they use like a 4 to 6 hook gangion. You don't do this anymore because now you can only use 2 hooks.
Right.
But you'd have anywhere from a 3 to 6 pound cod sinker, and that's what they called this square design one, was a cod sinker. And you'd be on an 80-foot party boat like the Pegasus. You guys would call it a charter boat, or an open charter maybe. And the captain would get us out there to the deep water banks, turn the boat so it would drift sideways in the wind, and everybody's lined up on one side, drops your lines down, and 3, 4, 5, 600 feet, and the lines are all going out like this to the side of the boat. Kind of like that. Part of that is just current.
Let me
See, it's
Yeah, we're drifting a little faster now than we were last time. We're up to almost 1.5 miles.
okay.
An hour.
Try doing a little bump in and out of reverse. Just straighten the motor out. And,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of people fishing like that. Great big boat, you know, compared to a Lund that I grew up on. And so what were you catching with that?
All kinds of rockfish. down in Southern California, there's what's called a cow cod, and you would probably look at it and say, oh, that's kind of yellow eye. Big, bright red. It doesn't have that bright yellow eye though. And I think the record on that is somewhere around 30, 35 pounds. That's like the prize for rockfish down there. As far as I know, you can't keep them anymore in California. And there's areas that are actually designated as cow cod conservation zones where you just can't fish, period.
Well, every, down in the Caribbean, it's a grouper. Up here, it's a yellow eye. What's the snapper in Southern California? Like, if somebody said I caught a snapper, what do you think they caught down there?
There are snapper down in Baja California, true snapper, like not cubera, I don't remember all the different kinds. But the captains on the party boats didn't like you keeping them because they tended to accumulate a lot of toxins in them. We have this charming, same depth, 370 something meters. First off. And see, that's just to get all that extra belly out of the line. And okay, got a little slack. Come on, fish, I'm on camera. Show that I know what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, you're so used to fishing around rocks up here, though. You got anything like that, and that much angle on the line, if you're going across rocks, you're just going to lose everything. But I guess on the muddy bottom, it's not as worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, when the drift is slower and I can tent this a little easier, you can feel the sinker kind of sink into the mud, pull out of the mud, drift, drag along. Yeah, that's perfect, Dan.
Okay, I'll just keep nudging.
Yeah. Let your sinker hit bottom and then crank up almost immediately so you wouldn't snag in the bottom. The gear we were using back then was Penn Senator 6/0 single speeds, 80-pound Dacron, the big winch handles on them, and red, like a plate you put on the rod to rest against the rail.
Oh, cool.
But if you snag the bottom with one of those rigs, usually you would just bend your hooks open because those octopus hooks, they're like what you use for trolling for salmon up here.
Okay.
They don't take too much pressure. And but if you got that sinker stuck in the rocks, you were kind of out of luck. Come on. Just give me one. That's all we need for today is one. Thank God for digital technology where you're not wasting a lot of tape on useless footage, huh? Those are digital nowadays, right?
Oh, yeah.
Gone are the days of cutting floors. Oh, here's a bit of non-fishing trivia for you on that. You guys have seen the new Star Wars movie, right? Rogue One?
Uh-huh.
I don't know how big of Star Wars fans you are.
Huge.
Okay, you noticed gold leader and red leader, right?
Yeah.
That was cutting room footage that was discarded from the original movie, but for whatever reason, Lucasfilm held on to all that film.
Huh.
And some bright boy went. There you go on there.
Yeah.
See him?
We need to talk about Star Wars all day.
Okay, you can put us in neutral.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I'd watch at least one Star Wars movie a day.
He's on there. Can you see the raw tip doing that? I'm not going to bother trying to load up a second one with the drift blowing like this. So you're saying Star Wars days?
Oh, yeah, I read like 42 novels when I was a kid, and then episode 1, 2, and 3 came out, and I said I'm not touching it, and then they sold, and so all right, I'll give it a shot, and I really like those. There's one discrepancy in there that I saw.
Can you straighten the motors out so we don't drift over the line? Thank you. Perfect. I just didn't want to have a spin over the fishing line. So you were saying episodes 1 through 3?
Yeah, after when those came out, I mean, those were only good for memes, making fun of Vader and stuff. That, as far as I was concerned, like my kids, I won't allow them to watch them. But no, that ain't Star Wars, guys.
They're okay. I mean, at some point you had to tell the backstory of Vader, but he could have done such a better job.
Yeah.
And technology-wise, when you got actors who were just standing in front of a green screen, interacting with nobody,
Right.
versus Episode 7, they used real sets. You had actors talking to each other, even if the other actor was off camera.
Well, Jar Jar Binks was the worst color character ever. I mean, I don't know. I went in expecting Empire Strikes Back, and I don't know. I mean, I got Harry Potter.
It was almost like something Mel Brooks would have done.
Right.
Oh, he did one of those.
Exactly. It was like a non-funny Spaceballs.
Please still be on there. Just shake the rod so I know you're still there. Come on. So this is where all the hard work comes in. You know.
I can see you're breaking a sweat.
Oh yeah. I did some video of one of our contractors who came up with us last year, and he's right here using the exact same rod and reel, and I was being the smart aleck because I'm recording him. Something about, oh yeah, Martin's breaking a sweat here, and he comes over, starts miming that he's cranking the reel so it looks like he's doing something. Yeah, it's on there.
So is this considered power trolling?
Yeah, could be. And here's a funny thought for you. Was I talking with you or John about using a electric as a downrigger?
Probably John.
Okay, yeah, I was discussing with him the idea that you could use one of these as a downrigger instead of one of these. You know, you get a rod with enough stiffness to it and say 100, 150 pound braid, and there's your downrigger built in. You don't have to have it hooked up to the boat. I firmly believe that Murphy was an optimist, so I try to take care of everything I can think of. I'll scoop the sinkers, fish everything up with the net rather than risk having one of them pop off the hook.
Sure.
Oh, come on, shake. Let me know you're there. Were you able to start seeing the fish bites on the rod tip? So you could tell the...
Yeah, for a while we were kind of bouncing off the bottom, so it would just be like one tap when it actually hit, and then once it got on there.
And when you've got that bite going through that much line, by the time you see it, he's got the hook in his mouth. So I just, I go for the hook set. I don't, not like halibut where you wait and wait and wait for them to get the hook all the way down. I like that sound. Means there's something on there.
A little strain to it, yeah.
Sorry?
Got a little strain to it. It's working.
Oh yeah, it's laying down. Next trip ought to be easier.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's your gear or what, but we're only doing half mile an hour.
Good. Yeah,
when we started out, we were doing a mile and a half.
Yeah, half a mile an hour is just fine. Quarter mile to half a mile an hour, not a problem. Above that, it starts getting difficult. I mean, I've done it. I just not as much fun.
Right.
I really would love to see that rod tip jiggle a little to let me know you're still there. Yep, I saw it. Okay.
The sablefish whisperer.
Sorry?
The sablefish whisperer.
Yeah, they don't really fight to speak of. I mean, they'll twist and jiggle the line a little, those little ones we were catching yesterday, they fought. But they're also a lot closer to the surface and...
More life ahead of them.
Yeah.
More to fight for.
Yeah, more to fight for.
They're, by the by, they're marinating in brown sugar and bourbon right now. The small ones, I just cut off the head, cut it like a little rainbow trout.
Yeah, I saw them. The tail was off, the head was off, and
Yeah. In fact, I've got a few more in the fridge if you wanted to cook some of them up.
I'll eat anything.
The small ones I would just bake over a bed of rice, let all the oil that's in them soak into the rice.
Don't lose any of that flavor.
Right. And just be mindful, there's a lot of pin bones in them like salmon.
Would you ever do like a fettuccine sort of thing with them? You ever thought of, just like scallops and scallop fettuccine or something? It seems like if they're real flavorful,
Yeah, you could.
to kind of infuse the sauce with that.
Yeah, my normal way of cooking the fillets is barbecue or broil. Sometimes I'll bake them.
Well, if it's got a lot of flavor like salmon, it's I hate to lose any of it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, there's some jerking going.
And see, this is why I put the reel lower gear so the hook doesn't tear out. But if you're just doing a bait check, you crank it up at high speed. One thing with this kind of reel, makes bait checks so much easier. When we were bottom fishing for halibut up there at Whalers Cove, my mom likes to check her bait frequently. And she was like, should I check the bait? Sure, why not? It's not any work for you.
Right.
Hit the switch, boom, comes up, still there, she drops it right back down. I remember the first year I caught these up here was 2013 or 14. Melissa and I were staying over at Newton Cove and just doing the do-it-yourself thing. I booked us for a full week in late June for king salmon. She caught the only keeper king between us, and she only went fishing a couple of days. And on the last fishing day, everything was laid down, got perfect, and I figured, let me come out here and try this. And that's where I was doing those long grouper rigs I was telling you about. Just out in the middle of Beam Canal here, clear day, flat sea, blue water. You could see down, way, way down. I got that first one to the surface, got in the boat. I think you could have heard my Indian war whoop all the way over at Newton Cove. I was excited. Breaking a sweat yet, Dan?
I'm telling you. Hard work, this fishing stuff.
That's why the important...
Especially as a spectator.
Didn't say this is sport fishing.
You gotta sit down and reel these ones in.
Yeah. Like I said, if it's calm, I'll have that Shimano reel. I'll crank them up by hand. It's not that much work with the right reel. It's just time-consuming and boring.
So your other reel, is it a 2-speed?
Yeah. It's a 2-speed with an extended crank handle.
So it's still down 300 feet?
Yeah, about that. And see, the closer we get up to the boat, the more tension and strain there is directly on the line, so I don't want to pull the hooks out. Like when you're pulling up a big link hog, you don't want to horse it up. You just slow crank it up so that the hooks don't tear out. Yeah, I hear you. These electric reels with the integrated motors, the cooling on them is incredible. I mean, put your hand up here and feel this. There's like almost zero heat coming off of it.
Yeah, you're right. So when we're over here with the sun shining on.
Yeah. They're Daiwa and Shimano know their stuff on these things. Yeah, we're not going to run into the
I
shore.
think my phone gets hotter than that. My son plays on it for half an hour.
Yeah, the first time I used the electric, I was just like, oh my God, I don't want it to overheat. And now, I know that the thing is durable.
It looks like one of those whaling videos where they're dumping buckets of water on the line.
Yeah. Or back when I was a kid, tuna fishing in San Diego with single speed reels. Back then in the days where tuna could literally burn up a reel's drag. You'd see smoke coming off the reel. So if you hooked into a big yellowfin or bluefin on a troll, there'd be guys pouring water on your reel while you're fighting.
I'll be darned. I'm gonna get out of the way while he nets this.
So you gonna need any help here?
Nah, I do this solo so often. It's well, not so often, but pretty much all the time.
That's where you got that technique.
Yeah. Man, if it's a bigger thorny head that would have been a record, I might cry a little.
Throw the film overboard. No, that was my hand, buddy.
Yeah, no, I will bend some rules, but things that are like honor code like that,
Sure, yeah.
I stick to. That's
He's down there jerking around.
yeah. It's one thing to have a fish that might be half an inch over or under the limit, and you just kind of squeeze the tail. It's another if you're saying, I got a record here. Mm-hmm. That's honor code.
Yeah, because you got to start that story to tell somebody about it. If it's a lie, it's kind of...
Yeah. We're about 20 feet down. It's just this ghostly gray shadow as it comes up. All right. It's not as big as I would like, but... Oh, circle hooks love nets, don't they? All right, so all that time, all that effort, all that boat handling by our expert captain here, by the by, for that. Not quite as big as I'm used to catching, but still, that's a good adult sablefish. You can drop it.
Even left us the bait.
Yeah. And that is, in my opinion, the finest eating fish in the ocean. All right, little guy, gonna bleed you out. Sorry.
It's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, apply a little Aggie law here.
You named your thumper.
You want a knife to kill it?
So you bleed it the same way you do a salmon.
Yeah. Much obliged.
Fishing now, baby.
Okay. Any bait or anything?
Yeah, I've got to put a little more bait on there and we'll get set up for another drift. Kind of about halfway between here and here, so
Okay.
that way we drift in parallel to our last track.
Sure.
Much obliged.
Never seen one of those pulled out of the water.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe ever, except for on the docklet yesterday. Pretty distinctive looking though. I'm going to confuse that with anything else.
Well, and it's interesting. it was, I'll say mostly digested, but Monday, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday, I caught a coho salmon. And I mean, it had the tail of one of those hanging out its mouth about 3 inches, 4 inches. The tail, when I pulled it back out, it was probably this big.
Sure.
So it had got as far into his stomach as it could.
Like a steak.
And the front half was,
So it'd been in there a while.
You know, digested, and so I couldn't tell exactly what kind of fish it was, but it's got the same tail as that guy does.
Well, Zach knows better. I read about them though. When they're juveniles, they live a lot shallower, and like he was saying, maybe in schools, but a lot shallower. And then they get like 1 or 2, maybe 3 years old. They go deep, where we're fishing for them now.
You know, when the guy who has this boat gets the new one built, it's going to have a kicker motor and an aft control. I might be able to use that boat in these kind of conditions a lot more effectively. Because I can just put the rod right next to me, steer, operate the kicker with one hand and handle the reel with the other.
Yeah, you can just relax right here.
What do you say about 4 pounds? He's doing what?
That was his response. Somebody was well black.
Yeah, there's crazy people in the world. We love fishing.
And so Joe, he's been camping, spending the night in Helm Bay right up here.
Okay.
But yesterday he was fishing off a Camino. Said they picked up 3 in an hour. He says, I thought it was kind of slow, but then he said another charter friend, Kevin, showed up out there and picked up 10 in a couple hours.
Okay.
So he said they're everywhere, but they're kind of where you find them.
Okay.
And 2 days ago, another buddy of his was limiting out down here on the backside of Dravina.
Okay.
And that's where we were.
Huh. Either there's 2 fish on there, or, well, I'm not going to guess. It's behaving a little differently than I'm used to. So, you were talking about cost. You were asking about price and cost. $500-ish for the reel, $500 for that battery pack, which you don't need on your own boat. You just hook up your boat battery. Mm-hmm. This is a rental boat, and I don't like jacking with the guys' motors and batteries. So, the line is $150 worth of braid.
Wow.
And then the rod, you could probably use a lot less fishing rod for this. This is an old tuna stick that I had converted with the tip top and the roller guides. But a comparable rod would probably cost, I don't know, $150, $200.
And you're gonna have a swivel tip on every one of them you use?
You don't have to, but I would. If I were doing deep dropping for tilefish in the Gulf or swordfish, I would much rather have that swivel tip. Guy's a little more active. Put that away so I don't stab myself. Probably a more intelligent way to do that, but
Take it off.
yeah.
That'll taste good.
Let me have you take a look at the inside of this guy's mouth if you can.
Go ahead, stick your finger in.
Yeah, no. Okay, see that second row of teeth on the roof of his mouth? That's like prey trap there. I don't know if you can get that or not.
Oh yeah, I see it.
So he's got that second row of teeth on the roof of the mouth, and
What goes in doesn't come out.
yeah, he gets a hold of a squid, anything. It's not getting away. It's always nice to get the gills and not my fingers when I do that. You ever cut yourself, Dan?
Not since the last time.
Oh, come on. Your standard answer is, I did that once.
Oh, that guy is
Yeah.
probably a pound bigger than the last one.
Yeah. You guys feel like doing one more drift?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Take us to the same spot. It feels like it's laying down, so this ought to improve. See, the rigging here is not terribly complicated. It's just a 2-drop circle hook rig, and the hooks are spaced really, really close to the bottom. My past experiences, I tried rigs I would use in the Gulf of Mexico for grouper, and those have spacings about 4 to 5 feet, and I wasn't catching anything on those.
You're not going to spend a fortune on bait compared to salmon fishing.
Sorry? Oh yeah, no. You use the leftovers from your salmon. Yeah, I got all the stripped up herring in here, and I just throw the heads in with it.
Nice.
You use salmon belly. I've used arrowtooth flounder. And see, on the salmon, the herring strips, I put them in rock salt, and then I'll tip the hoochies with the strips of herring. So you get 4, 5, 6 pieces of bait off of each herring, and I don't think the fish care. They smell food, they see the hoochie, and the combination works.
So after the initial $1,000 investment in the rod and the reels and stuff, you actually save a little bit of money.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, it would be cheaper for me to just pay $50 a pound to have it shipped to my door. But part of it is just doing what very few people do.
Yeah.
And you pull up some really, really cool critters. There was that rockfish I caught a couple years ago that turned out to be a world record. Part of me is still hoping to catch a world record short raker, although after that Joe Lieberman guy, I don't know that I'll be able to do that. You know, he caught that one out of Sitka that at first people thought it was 200 years old.
Oh yeah.
And it turned out to be like 70 to 80 years old. But it was still a new world record.
Yeah. I read about that.
Yeah.
That was gnarly looking.
This guy's getting death threats from people on the internet for keeping a fish.
Yeah, it was dead when he brought it up anyways.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? For those air bladders.
Yeah, from 900 feet, yeah. If you pulled it up from 300 or 400 feet, you could probably release it with one of those Shelton devices.
Now the black cod or sablefish are like lingcod, right? They don't have the air bladder, so if for some reason you wanted to drop it back down 1,400 feet, well, you can just turn it loose at the top.
Right, or it's usually that it spins off the hook at the surface and you get to watch it swim away.
Right, but you didn't kill one anyway. So
yeah. The way they compensate for those deep water pressures, because you got to remember, every 32 feet, I don't remember if it's adding another atmospheric pressure or doubling. But
it's adding, another 14.4 psi. So
every 32 point something feet of depth is adding another atmospheric pressure, and these fish are living at 1,000 to 6,000 feet with enormous pressures. You send down say a water bottle full of air down to that, it'll just get smushed into the size of a thimble. These fish compensate for those pressures with that oil in their body.
I see.
I don't understand the exact mechanics of it, but the oil is less dense and helps combat the pressures, and it's part of what makes them so delicious.
Sure, and you can't really compress liquids too. I wonder if that,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to read about.
Oh yeah, this is getting much better. The water's clearing up.
Yep, it is laying down.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is more like what I'm accustomed to.
Was it even calmer than this yesterday?
Yeah. Oh, it was flat, glassy, calm. And then we tucked in behind Camino Point there, and there was like no drift speed at all. And then we came around the corner of Camino Point, and the wind was just howling. Yeah, I guess we'll need to have the motor. Maybe not. That's part of that deep water current thing I was telling you about, where the line will start blowing out to the side, then it'll blow out to the other side. Yeah, and so you're using a lot less line to get to the bottom now.
20 meters less there.
Yeah. Come on, pop up. Uh-oh. There we go.
Caught one of those pesky salmon on the way down.
Yeah. Boy, wouldn't that be funny? I mean, I know that salmon spend part of their life cycle at like 1,000-foot depths at sometimes. I mean, the trawlers bring them up with pollock and cod, right?
Yeah, well, I wonder if that's when they're still in the middle of their, not adolescence, but...
About yay big. Because I know that sablefish do eat small salmon. They've been found in their bellies. Of course, sablefish seem to eat anything.
I'm sure there's not a whole lot of choice down there at 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
Do they, you find a lot of other sablefish or inside of sablefish, or they usually hang out, you know, like, will they eat their, because you find salmon with salmon fry in them, won't you?
I don't know. Typically when I find them, they're all the same size class. Again, I don't know if they school or not, but the same size tend to congregate and stick around together.
Yeah,
I really don't know. Oh, seriously?
hey, you got something on there.
And just
mud.
Sticking in the mud. Well, it's that extra weight and we're not drifting near as fast now.
Oh.
Which is a good thing. Makes it easier for the fish to home in on that smell.
They're kind of like halibut in that respect, and they a lot of scent.
Yeah.
Is that your buddy? Looks like they're going camping.
Is that your friend? Oh. Yeah, see, normally I'd be using 3 pounds of lead, and that pops up out of the mud a little easier. Still different than using 15 pounds for swordfish.
Like, no matter what you do, you're working.
Yeah. Give me a year or so after I finish law school, pass the bar, and I'm in practice. So I'll have you come down. We'll do some of that out of Grand Isle or Venice, Louisiana.
That's a whole different world.
Oh yeah, the Green Canyon at the end of the Mississippi River. You can run. That's about the only place I can think of on the Gulf Coast where you get these kind of depths close to shore. You run just a short way out, 10, 20 miles, and you're in a couple thousand feet of water.
A short way out, 10, 20 miles.
That to me in Texas is a short way. I mean,
That's kind of standard.
I was telling Greg earlier that in Texas waters, you want to get to 200 feet, you have to go, say, 40 to 60 miles out. You go to South Texas, and you can get into, say, 100-foot depths, 3-4 miles offshore at Port Mansfield. But other than that, it's really relatively shallow out of Galveston, Houston, Corpus Christi, and all for quite a ways out.
And so there's sandy bottoms?
sand, mud, shale, rock, gravel, all kinds of.
But not coarse, rough, erratic like around here.
No, not the real high relief mountainous type stuff like is up here.
So more or less, what you see on the surface here, you see on the bottom here.
Correct.
Same thing in Texas.
Yeah,
What you see on the surface there is what you see on the bottom.
pretty much. Wow. Yeah, that 4-pound weight's making a difference now.
Yeah, well, we're not drifting nearly as much.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, see, it's laying down flat. This is perfect. Shoot, I'd even use the manual reel now.
Well, that one looks like it has a handle on it there. You could.
Yeah, but it's a much lower gear ratio. You've been cranking forever. When I brought up that sleeper shark, I was cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking. I just, the only thing kept me going was I could see the line, the meter counting the line down. So it's like, yeah, I'm making progress. I so wish I'd had some way to get a photo or video or something that day, but you know how I was rocking and rolling earlier, bumping, that's the conditions it was. And I didn't want to lose the $1,000 plus of gear. Yeah, that fish was just, the circle hook was right in the skin at the corner of the mouth. And I finally just reached down, cut that little bit of skin, and it just drifted off into the depths. But I didn't want to risk letting loose of the rod and reel to try to get a hold of my phone or anything to take pictures with. I figured if I set it in the holder like that, it would have been gone.
You want more of those Cheez-Its, don't you, Dan?
No, I'm
The first box is free. After that, it's
full price.
yeah. Then I'll be charging you a premium.
That's just the way. Oh, now I remember the different name. You guys call a chimera a rat fish, and you call a grenadier a rat tail. Maybe not you, but that's the names up here.
Where the ratfish looks like a little miniature shark.
Yeah, and the rat tail is that thing that they pull up on the deep water long lines that the bodies usually fall off because they're so soft.
Right, they're gnarly little things.
Yeah. That video I was talking about, the sablefish was eating a rat tail.
I got one of those off a dock down here outside of Silver Lining Cannery one time. We're like, what the heck is that? You know?
Yeah, I seem to recall reading an article about them this past year, speculating whether there'd be any way to turn them into a food fishery because they show up on long lines and nets and all the time. And I was like, ew, I don't think I'd even want processed fish sticks made out of those.
No, that doesn't even belong in surimi. Judging by looks alone, anyways. Here.
Maybe cat food.
Yeah, you can put it into processed cat food, the cats.
If you don't like your cat.
Well, I was gonna say my cats might turn their nose up at it if they, really. It's amazing how finicky animals like that can be about, processed manufactured food.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't eat that cheese my kids like.
Huh?
I'm sorry, I grew up on Tillamook cheese up here.
Yeah.
Like not real fancy, but
It's real.
yeah, I have a higher floor for what I require for my cheese, and that stuff was having my kids eat that. I feel like a failure as a father.
Well, it's like in Texas, we've got Bluebell ice cream.
Yeah, that stuff's fire.
Their thing is it's pure cream, pure berries or whatever they're putting in there. It's real food. It's not some artificial ice cream substitute.
Oh, with pulp in it, in Ketchikan, Alaska.
Yeah, that was wait, what?
I heard that they use some product from the pulp that we used to make here in some ice creams.
Well, they put there's a paper product on the cheese that you buy that's shredded in the bag, so it doesn't clump together. It has like a coating, so like you ever try to melt that stuff? You know, I'm gonna make some nachos and you throw that pre-shredded cheese on it, and it doesn't melt right. It's because it's got this paper product coating that keeps it from sticking to itself in the bag. So I wonder if they do the same thing. But it's good for ice cream to stick to itself a bit.
I'm just thinking of all the fillers that McDonald's hamburgers are supposed to have in them.
Oh yeah,
Sawdust.
that's the best.
I posted one time like, best part about being single is if I want, I can go and get 6 McDonald's cheeseburgers and eat those all day. Conversely, the worst part about being single is sometimes I'll get 6 McDonald's cheeseburgers and eat those all day.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you eat all those in one meal.
No, I will. I mean, that's me. But like headed to work, sometimes like, I'll just get some cheeseburgers. I can reheat those. And of course, the McChickens are no good because they put lettuce on it. That doesn't reheat well. So the foods with the real stuff on it, it's just a no-go. But yeah, those I'll get just a bag full of cheeseburgers and eat nothing but those.
I hate that feeling of not really being able to tell.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky you got an electric reel.
Well, I don't know about the bottom coming up, but the temperatures come up a degree and the sun on the water.
Yeah, it helps with the wind not blowing so hard. Well, after this drop, I'm ready to cover these in ice and go fish for some salmon.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of jumpers when you're fishing for sablefish, do you?
No. I mean, much as I love these, if I'm not catching them, it's kind of pointless.
Like berry picking.
Sorry?
I said it's like berry picking. You're not finding them, there's no reason to be there.
Yeah. I used to do that as a kid when we lived in Washington. My mom would take my brother and I to the pick-it-yourself type places, and they had the kids row. Apparently, and I don't remember this firsthand, I have to take my mom's word for it, but apparently they banned me from going in there anymore because I ate too many berries. Yeah.
That's a real story of your love for sablefish. No, we lived at a place called Issaquah when I was like 4. I mean, we only got a couple memories of it, but we had to go pick berries for a day, and that was in Washington as well. And so we had a big old bucket of it, and my brother was just hell on wheels until about last year, really. But we picked all these berries, and we had them sitting in a great big bucket in the sink, and the parents went off to do something, and Jack decided he was making jam and just went and just smushed all of them into this just gloppy mess. And my dad didn't want to go berry picking in the first place. It was Mom's idea, and then the whole day was ruined when Jack made jam for us, and he was livid.
Wow.
I remember that. It was one of my few memories of the place, so Dad must have been lit. But
that was something I really thought was cool in Juneau. When I was walking around town, salmon berries, blackberries, I'm not sure what kind they were, all over the place. I was just picking them as I was walking and eating them.
You know, get the huckleberries and blueberries here. And
the other big difference on Juneau I noticed was just it's got a huge land area, like what, 3,000 square miles? Or, sorry, I remember reading the figure, 3,108 might be square miles. But
in their borough?
In the entire area of Juneau, because that includes Douglas Island.
Right.
And they've got their highway that stretches a lot further than Ketchikan is able to, because Ketchikan's on the side of a mountain, and you can only go so far on the mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we could go all the way around the island.
Yeah. And I know there's starting to finally get development in there again. You were showing us where those new houses are being built on the side of the hill. But with Juneau, it's spread out over such a much bigger area.
Yeah. Yeah, we found that over here at South Downer. And we were fishing and we were getting 60% pinks.
Okay.
And then did the same thing, speed up to over 3.
Right.
Yeah, no more pinks, just cohos. But then the cohos were fewer and far between too.
Yeah. But they're bigger than the pinks are.
yeah.
It did surprise me because I told our captain, we're not that particular. If we fill up the boat with pinks and silvers, we're happy. But it was like an affront to him to let a pink salmon touch the deck of his boat. To him, those are trash fish.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny what you used to. Down in Missouri there, I give somebody a fillet of pink and it's like I'm handing them gold. And
Yeah.
Up here, it's like, why is that on the table?
Oh, and it's every area has its thing. If I were to take you tuna fishing down the Gulf of Mexico and you were catching blackfin and we were bleeding it, putting it on ice, we'd throw that on the grill and you'd probably swear it was the best tuna you ever had. But to the locals, blackfin tuna is trash. Mm-hmm. Yellowfin is the prize.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Although I'll catch a pink, cook it up, man, it's good.
Yeah. As long as they're fresh caught, packed, frozen, and sealed well. We've had them that we cook a year and a half later that are still plenty good.
Yep. And if you want, you can use it for bait.
Yeah.
Cohos, kings, sockeye can't use for bait, but chunks and things.
Yeah. Well, you need the pieces after you're done filleting them.
Yeah. Or you can use the fillet in a crab pot.
After I fillet
if I
them.
catch coho or king, I want the fillet for my freezer.
Yeah.
I'll use the head and the tail and all the pieces for bait.
When my brother was drill netting there last year, he swung by and filled our cooler up with pinks and like a chum salmon. That's not a very appetizing name in itself.
Yeah.
I read where it came from, but the dog is the other name we use for it. That doesn't sound good either. So I was
Kita or calico. It sounds
right. Kita sounds great. And reading about them and talking to my brother, said that that's a money fish just like sockeye is. Where they sell it. It's firmer and whatever. But growing up here, it's like, no, I'd beat a pink before dog. And that was just the name.
Yeah. Well, you get spoiled here.
Yeah, I can't remember what the native word chum meant. It wasn't derogatory like it would be with us, but
if I want to make it sound better to folks back home, I call it calico salmon or Kita salmon.
Kita sounds cool.
And they're like, oh, okay, that sounds great.
Here, have a slice. Have a dog fillet. Is this real dog? No, dog salmon. Oh, that's way better.
What's the other thing that surprises me? Our local grocery store down in Texas actually had arrowtooth flounder fillets for sale. They were vacuum packed, frozen, individual fillets in bags, and they were selling for like $7.99 a pound.
Wow.
And I looked at that, I thought, we throw those things away up there. I've tried filleting them and eating them, and they're just mushy.
Right.
I mean, you could use them.
Even worse.
Right, you could, well, that's what you guys call turbot, arrow-tooth flounder.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, same fish.
Oh, okay. Because we do have a flounder here, but I'm not sure which flounder it is.
It's in the bottom of the ice. I'll get it out later. I caught a little one yesterday. I figured I'd cut up this halibut bank. But yeah, the true flounder have a fairly small mouth.
Right.
And they get maybe this big.
Right.
I could see using arrow-tooth to make like fish patties or something, but not as fillets that you want to bake or fry. Oh, there is one on there.
Stuff on there.
I'll be damned.
You're catching fish by accident? That's a pro right there.
Like I said, I couldn't tell if I had one on there or not.
Ah, it's probably a shark.
Yay!
Here we got a repeat of Jaws. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah. Well, the guys at Whalers Cove Lodge did a spoof video of black cod fishing. They go out and they're spoofing, what's that stupid tuna show? Wicked Tuna.
Wicked Tuna.
Yeah, where the guys are out there and they're showing that tense, dramatic video of the rod tip twitching. Oh, this is the money fish. If we just get this one in for the season, we're good. And yeah, they're having a fun time lampooning it. But there are days out here when I'm doing this, I kind of feel that way. It's like, let's see, my round trip airfare was $1,300. My lodging is $200 or $300 a day. The boat is $300, $400, $500 a day, and so on. And I'm taking home 30 pounds of fillets. I mean, it would be cheaper to just buy it and have it shipped to me, but.
But it was that dramatic flip of the switch that landed it. That was the fun part.
Yeah. But again, I'm prone to use the manual reel just as much as the electric.
Well, it's interesting to see this. I've never been around somebody using one, so it looks real convenient.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These are fun. And again, for folks like my mom, having just finished her radiation and chemo for cancer, cancer's gone, thankfully, but she still doesn't have the same upper body strength as she did a year and a half ago. And something like this makes it possible for her to be able to catch big fish.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would work on salmon.
You can put this on a trolling rod and just have the person hold the rod. I imagine I would probably back the drag way down.
Yeah.
Because this thing can crank up to, I think, 45 or 50 pounds of drag.
Does the braided line, that telescope's less than, what do they call
Mono?
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, way less.
So you're always going to be using braided when you're drop fishing or something?
Yeah. For trolling, at least up here trolling, I like mono better because that stretch helps with everything you're doing.
Sure.
But for any bottom fishing or deep water applications, I much prefer braid. I mean, before braid, you couldn't fish this kind of depths or swordfish depths as you can now. Wow. He's not happy.
They're a little resistant.
Yeah. This is weird. I don't know, maybe it's foul hooked. What? Yeah. The
Battery's out?
yeah, battery could be dead. Well, I guess I know how much charge I get on one battery. There it is. Got it?
Yep, kill it. He's the biggest one yet.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's a little more what I'm used to catching. Yep, circle hooks love nets.
Oh, nice.
That's a little better. Third and last one of the day, I suppose.
Yeah, he's a beauty.
The elusive, what's the words they use for those tuna about hard fighting, overwhelming? There's no fight to them, but they're delicious.
All those superlatives.
Yeah, it's, to me, this makes all the work worthwhile. All right, let me apply a little Aggie Law. Cover them up. Cool.
Do they cook pretty fast?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely need something to put them on when they're cooked
Yeah, we'll
because
get it.
it's going to take me 2 rounds. Set for a few minutes. Okay, over here, I've got a belly piece. This black layer inside is an adaptation for these guys because a lot of the things they eat are bioluminescent. They glow in the dark. They make their own light. So the sablefish eat these glow-in-the-dark critters, and this black stomach lining keeps that light from glowing through, so they don't become prey and turn for something else. I don't remember where I ran across that little tidbit, but I thought that was one of the coolest things I ever read.
It opens up like.
Let that go for a few minutes. I don't mind burning the skin a little bit because we're not going to eat the skin either. And I try to get the meat off of there on the grill, and then I just toss the skin.
I was on over for like 4 minutes or something.
Yeah.
On one side.
Well, yeah, I sear the one side and then flip it over and let it finish cooking through. And I err on the side of caution. I'd rather overcook it a little. I mean, it's not going to dry out. It's not,
Oh, with all the oils?
With the oils.
Yeah.
Fatty as it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's just dripping down onto the burners. Figure I'll pull those tail pieces off first.
You wanna
They're
cut
thinner.
it up? I'm gonna run upstairs. That's fine.
Oh. Snap, crackle, and pop.
They got a little
Bumpy.
windy on the way back. We thought we left with a ton of time out of there, but
Yeah.
had a good headwind. We had to pull the engines back because we were hitting these 4 or 5 footers.
Yeah. We were anchored on that hump out in the channel by Point Alva, and I would have stayed there till we had our limit. We only needed 3 more halibut for a limit, but I noticed that our boat, as you swing on anchor, sometimes your anchor kind of walks and walks and walks. Yeah, it's holding, but it's slipping a little at a time.
Right.
I realized the boat anchored behind us kept getting closer. And I thought, it's gonna suck if I won't know how to live it down if I run into another boat out in the middle of nowhere. At anchor.
It's like, how'd you get run over by a parked car?
Yeah, exactly. So I decided to pull up, and then the wind was starting to pick up a little bit, so we went tucked in behind the point where it was really, really calm. Tried drifting jigs over some 140, 180 spots. I wanted to see if there was anything worthwhile there, and nothing. A couple minor bites. And then we came around the point, and smack into that north wind with the 2-foot swell and real tidal waves. You know, I know a tsunami is called a tidal wave, but the real thing where the current is putting these really packed together waves are about yay tall and and they're about this far apart. And you know, we're bam, bam, bam through those, and then into the chop and the slop. And I think we were doing 12 knots through most of it because my mom just can't take the. I could have gunned it up to 18, 20 knots and just powered through, but my mother would be in the hospital from all the banging and slamming. I might be a little in pain the next day.
You gotta take care of mom.
Yeah, and so we tucked in around Mountain Point where it was calm, and we just, you know, drift jigged the edge there where it goes from 100 to 400 feet, and got the lingcod and a couple of nice rockfish.
Oh, nice. Right there, Mountain Point, huh?
Yeah, and you remember I was saying how we hadn't caught any rockfish at all so far?
Right.
You know, kind of a relief to see there's a few.
Yeah. They haven't moved on. That's all we caught today. We actually got a China rockfish. A little tiny one, though.
Yeah, they don't get real big.
No. Got a good picture of that with the boy.
The one I got was a nice sized tiger.
Yeah, I got a tiger today, and then AJ pulled up a dusky.
Yeah, I had one pelagic, one non-pelagic. And then Sue Ellen had a, I know the name, you guys call them brown bombers, quillback. Huh?
It's all good eating.
Yeah.
I love these rockfish. It's just a bummer you don't get that much meat off them compared to other species.
Yeah. Well, if you get them large enough, you get worthwhile fillets.
Yeah.
But an 11-pound silver gray rockfish is kind of rare.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up, Anthony? You all dressed up for laundry day?
Hey, I'll have you laundry in the back.
Boy, that's sweet.
And Mom gave you a new suitcase too.
What, was the one out of yours?
I just dropped fish in my coffee. The skin's burning off. I don't think that'll hurt anything. Your grill's on fire.
Yeah.
Dramatic. I'm just waiting for Chef Ramsay to come in here and start cussing at me. What the flip do you think you're doing to that grill? High oil content. So have you ever seen any kind of fish just thrown on the grill like that? Other than maybe salmon that was really, really heavily marinated?
No.
So much thicker than a salmon of a comparable weight, like how thick that
Yeah.
slab is.
I mean, even the the fish weren't real long, but they still pack a lot of pounds onto a fairly short frame.
Right. No, that's awesome.
Now, when we went to Whalers Cove, we didn't get to catch any up there, but one of the boats brought some in that were in the 20-pound range. To me, those were enormous. I've never, all the sablefish I remember seeing at the Dory fleet down in San Diego, Newport Beach, were 10 to 12, 10 to 12 pounds. Not huge, bigger than these, but not gigantic.
Right.
That 21-pounder I looked at up there, I would love to get one of those on a rod and reel.
How deep do you reckon those they were, or is it just a location?
It was the location. And the structure that they're looking for is the same kind of structure as I was describing to you,
yeah.
where you have a steep drop off that transitions to a mud trench. Is that transition zone? The difference was the structure these captains are looking for is underwater pinnacles rather than mountaintops that you can see above water. But they showed me, here's the pinnacle underwater. We're fishing this side of it. And they're looking for the exact same thing.
Oh, did it go on the lee side of it, like current's flowing against it, and then you go on the opposite side?
They were looking for the side that so here's the pinnacle, here's the transition zone. They're looking for the current going that way because they'd anchor on the pinnacle, drop their baits down here, and they want the fish coming up, you know, after it.
So it's similar to link cod, just different structures.
Yeah.
And depth levels.
It sort of reminded me of halibut fishing, and ironically, the one day that our captain did take us for sablefish, we caught halibut out the wazoo that we had to let go because they were too big. Which I get conservation and all, but it's frustrating to not be able to keep one fish in a trip. It's 60, 80 pounds.
Yeah, they give you a pound limit, just like a quote on a boat. All right, you can take home 50 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
However you find it, that's fine.
Yeah, and that lodge includes 2 boxes per person of fish processing at no additional charge. So that's kind of the target you have is 100 pounds of meat for that 4-day trip.
If you got to throw back 30 pounds of meat with a 60-pound halibut, that's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was smart.
Tomorrow with the wind, I was probably just going to go to Boswick, go up in the back, drop some crab traps, and then find a likely spot, drop anchor, and just soak herring until we get halibut. I mean, they come in there, they're just not as consistent as other places.
Well, maybe show me on that chart.
Woo! Uh-oh.
Yeah, baby.
Whoops.
Well, we sell blackened
Black cod.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not quite what I had in mind. That didn't happen last time.
Oh, that all looks amazing.
Yeah. I think that might be a testament to the oil content of these fish. And that's not quite a normal portion. That right there is about a normal serving size of this fish, about 6 ounces. It's that rich. You know what, you stay on the grill a few more minutes. You're ready. Wow. That's just not what I had in mind. The thinner tail pieces are going to be cooked more thoroughly than the thick pieces.
All that stuff that was bubbling out of it, that wasn't from the marinade or anything like that.
No.
That's there. That's just all the oil.
That's oil from the fish. I mean, I put a little bit of olive oil in the marinade to help get the brown sugar to break down so it caramelizes. But no, that's the oil content of the fish. And I was describing those small juvenile ones that you catch around here in the bays. They haven't built up that high level of oil yet. They're still really delicate and delicious. They just, I mean, look at that. Yeah, that's probably a good comparison. The only warning I will give is that I don't think I bothered taking out bones on any of this.
We're used to salmon.
Yeah, the bones will flake out easily enough. The marinade I'm using on this is based on brown sugar and olive oil. There's just enough olive oil to liquefy the brown sugar. And then I mixed in some orange juice on this batch. Normally I use lemon juice. Whatever flavor happens to appeal to you. About that much of a bottle of Jim Beam. The alcohol cooks off during the barbecuing and it really gives a kick to it. What else did I use on this batch? I used some dill and some all-purpose Greek seasoning. The fish is really, really oily, and with a brown sugar type marinade, you can let it sit in the fridge for 2 or 3 days, and the effect is sort of like when you're curing salmon to go into the smoker. It just soaks in and gets all through the fish. It's delicious. And now we're on fire again. Yep.
And how long did you cook each side of it?
I think I cooked each side for, I think about 4 minutes, 5 minutes on each side. Got a sear on the meat side, flipped it over, and basically cook until the skin starts crisping and burning. Had something happen this time that was a little different. There was so much oil from the fish dripping down into the grill that the whole grill caught fire. So we got a couple of blackened pieces in there, but it should still be good.
And what will you be serving the black cod with?
We're doing sticky rice. We've got a cucumber and tomato salad. I think there's a regular green salad and a vinegar-based coleslaw. So lots of green stuff this time.